Right now at 5, a fatal crash in Carl Junction takes the life of a Florida man.
It's another cold start for us across the 4 states, but much warmer weather is on the way. We'll break down that full forecast and some rain chances coming up.
And we take you to Wyandotte, Oklahoma to learn more about gun safety.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So it's again chilly out there for us today, but it's going to be much warmer today, and that warming trend will continue over the next several days.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, of course, today is the first day of spring, and spring officially kicks off as we head into this afternoon, early evening at 4:24 today. So I know everybody's excited about that, and it's going to be at least a little more spring-like today. Right now, MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line, we're looking good, but it is cold. Same at 7th and Range Line, 29 in Joplin. Feels like 21, but with a south breeze at 8. That's going to help usher in some warmer air through the day. Looking at temperatures across the area, 33 Iola, 32 in Fort Scott, 31 Pittsburgh, 29 Miami, and 30 in Neosho. However, even though it's cold, we are upwards of 15 some odd degrees warmer now than where we were 24 hours ago, and that warming trend will continue. As we head through the morning, we're going to start our day clear to mostly clear. We're going to start to see winds increase. They're going to be in that 25 to 35 mile an hour range. We up to the mid 40s by late morning. As we head into the afternoon, we're looking at highs pushing the mid to upper 50s across the area, so much closer to normal. However, it will also still be quite breezy, and we're going to start to see clouds increasing as we head into the afternoon and evening to the point where just plain old cloudy. Winds will let up at least a little bit as we head into this evening. We might even see a brief period of clearing before we see more clouds heading into tomorrow with an overnight low of 40. And the reason we're going to see more clouds, well, we've got showers and maybe even a thunderstorm or two on the way as we head into our Tuesday, up to 54, 51 for the low. And so this is going to be an interesting situation for Tuesday. That 51 may happen very early. Temperatures are expected to rise overnight heading into Wednesday, and we're looking at a high of 72 Wednesday, 65 for the low. 69 Thursday, watching shower and thunderstorm chances again on Thursday, and that cools us back down a bit. 57, maybe some morning showers Friday. Another round of possible rain heading into this upcoming weekend, but check out these temperatures hanging out in the lower to mid 60s. We go beyond that. Yeah, it's getting cool, but nowhere near as cool as it has been here lately as we continue to stay in the upper 50s and even into the lower to mid 60s all the way into next week. So spring again officially arriving this evening, and we're going to have some spring-like temperatures to go along with it. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. A two-vehicle crash on the north side of Carl Junction takes the life of a Florida man. Shortly after noon on Sunday, a 2022 Honda Civic crossed the center line and struck a 2019 Freightliner conventional cab. The driver of the Civic, Dorian Francis of Pembroke Pines, Florida, was the only occupant. He died at the scene. The roadway was closed for 4 hours for crash investigation. The driver of the semi was not injured. Body camera footage shows an off-duty Oklahoma City police captain who was pulled over for an alleged DUI asking the arresting officer to turn off his body camera. According to incident reports and the body camera video, Captain James French was pulled over after an officer allegedly saw his SUV swerve and turn without signaling early on Sunday morning. When asked how much he had to drink, French says he had 3 or 4 beers at a poker game and then asked Skinner again to turn off his body camera. French was arrested and booked on charges of driving under the influence of alcohol and failure to signal attention to turn. Oklahoma City police say French is on administrative leave pending the outcome of the investigation. Safety is the #1 thing to learn when learning how to shoot any kind of gun, and KOAM's Carrie Worthen went down to Shawnee Skies in Wyandotte, Oklahoma, and has more on how to be safe when using firearms.
Whoa.
Shawnee Skies in Wyandotte, Oklahoma is a shooting complex and training center open to the public. Known for shooting clay, this complex has 2 separate courses with 25 stations. Rangemaster Mike Kelly was a police officer for 38 years and has a lot of experience when it comes to gun safety.
So I've shot enough pistols in my life. I don't have to shoot shotguns now.
The number one safety advice Kelly teaches is how to hold a gun.
So if you're shooting an over and under, which this is an over and under shotgun, break over shotgun, it should be broke open until you get on the station where you're going to shoot. And at that time you load it and you close it. But as long as it's open, it's safe. It can't go off. Same thing for a semi-automatic or a pump action gun. The action, which is here, has to be closed for the gun to go off. So if you're not shooting, I want you to walk around with the action locked back like that. When you're shooting, it'll be closed more like that.
Quapaw FFA instructor Jason Couch is helping his students get ready for a competition. Couch says each student has to go through a hunter safety course to come to the range.
Come out here, we do a lot of gun handling safety, especially our first couple of practices, and that's the biggest thing we deal with to make sure we don't have any accidents. I hope they go on and enjoy it and teach this to their kids when they have kids later on in life, because it's something I enjoy, they enjoy it. It's something that's a little different than normal, than a lot of people get to do.
Remember, safety could be on or off, but it's definitely number one when holding a gun. In Wyandotte, Carrie Worthen, KOAM News.
As Shawnee Sky says, they are not only for experienced shooters, but for beginners as well. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, PSU looks to keep its hot streak going as its baseball team takes on Northeastern State on the diamond. We'll have more details with Chris in sports. Plus, California's governor announces that the infamous San Quentin prison going from incarcerating people to rehabilitating them. And how the shortage of mental health care workers is causing a crisis. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Well, the Missouri Southern Lions wrap up a big series against the Washburn Ichabods yesterday afternoon. These two teams are both 9-2 in the MIAA coming into the day. Both teams are tied for first place in the conference standings. Lions and Ichabods playing two in Topeka. In Game 1, Missouri Southern defeated Washburn 7-2. There's plenty of late drama in this one. It was a 3-2 ball game going into the 9th inning until Henry Kuziak had a big three home run that would ice that game. Kyle Moore would pitch in relief and finished it with 5 2/3 innings with no earned runs and 6 strikeouts. In Game 2, the Lions would not sweep. Instead, they would split the doubleheader. Nate Myskowski went 1 for 5 with 3 RBIs in this one. Southern is now 10-3 in the MIAA. Missouri Southern will be back on the field on Tuesday night on the road against Missouri S&T. In their series against Northeastern State on Friday night with an 11-7 win over the Riverhawks. Those two teams wrap up their series yesterday with a doubleheader in Pittsburgh. Pitt State enters the day on a 3-game winning streak. In Game 1, the Gorillas make that a 4-game winning streak after beating the Riverhawks 5-2. Key player in this one was Jake Grubarger. He went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Starting pitcher Tanner Leslie would pick up the win after pitching 6 innings and 5 strikeouts. So here we go to Game 2. Pitt State looking for the doubleheader sweep. On the mound for the Gorillas was the lefty Ben DeRosier. He pitched lights out in this game. DeRosier says good morning, good afternoon, and good night. He finished the game pitching 6 innings with 9 strikeouts and no earned runs. How about some bats now? In the 4th, it's already 4-0 Pitt State. Jake Grubarger lifts one high and deep right field, and there it goes. See you later. It's a 2-run homer, and it's now 6-0 Pitt State. Later in the inning, Nixon Brannon. You think he got all of that one? I think so. It's the second 2-run homer in the inning, 8-0 Gorillas. Still in the 4th, Kellen Clemens once in on the home run derby. Not a 2-run homer, but it's his second home run of the day, and he'll gladly take that long trot. As Pitt State wins soundly over Northeastern State 12-0 as they sweep the Riverhawks in their doubleheader. They've now won 5 straight. Start this season, the Lions are 17-6 overall to begin the spring, including a 3-1 mark in conference play. Southern hits the field for a non-conference doubleheader against Winona State. In Game 1, early in the bottom of the 1st, Josie Topai It's a rope down the left field line for a double. Yasmin Vargas comes racing around third, scoring all the way from first, gives Southern a 1-0 lead. Now we're going to flash forward to the fifth. Topai up once again and sends one into center field. Vargas will score her second run. It's now 2-0 Southern. Still in the fifth, Kara Amos gets that one to fall for an RBI single. It's now 3-0 Southern. They hold on to that lead throughout most of this game thanks to this girl, Avery Tallman, who was in the circle today. She pitched a complete game with 4 strikeouts and only 1 earned run. Really controlled this game from start to finish. In the seventh now, some drama. The bases are loaded. We get a deep fly ball center field, looking, track, fence, and it's caught for the final out of the game. Missouri Southern with a sigh of relief as they held on to win Game 1 of the doubleheader 3-1. Then in Game 2, it was a different story. The Lions got off to a 4-1 start, but a 5-run fifth inning prevailed Winona State to get the Game 2 victory. Warriors beat the Lions 6-4 in that one as they split the doubleheader. However, Missouri Southern's Ashlyn Williams went 1 for 4 with a 2-run double. Still to come, a famous tourist destination in Italy will now start charging an entry fee. And we're going to take another look at that forecast and the warmer weather when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Another chilly start for us out there, but warmer weather is on the way. MoDOT camera, 20th in range line. We look good so far. Same from 7th in range line. We've got clear skies out there, but cold. 29, feeling like 21 with a south breeze at 8 miles an hour. As we look at temperatures across the area, it is chilly, but it's interesting. There's a patch of cooler air right here in the center. We've got 33 Yates Center, Iola, 32 Chanute, 30 Parsons, 29 in Miami, 30 in Neosho, and 29 in Carthage. Even though it is chilly today, we're upwards of 10 to 15 degrees warmer now than what we were 24 hours ago, and that warming trend will continue. As we go through our morning, we're going to start the day clear to mostly clear, and then we're going to start to see winds increase, gusting in that 25 to 35 mile an hour range, making it up to the mid 40s by late morning. Clouds will increase through late morning and into the afternoon until we are just plain old cloudy and breezy. But despite the clouds, we're still going to warm up quite nicely. We're looking at highs in the mid to upper 50s today, and we have a slightly nicer evening ahead of us. Still chilly, but not bad. 40 degrees for our overnight low. Winds will let up a bit, and we might even see some clearing before we'll see clouds increasing again as we head into tomorrow, and here's why. We're watching some showers and thunderstorms as we kick off our Tuesday morning across the region. These will start rolling in around 5, 6 a.m. And we'll have scattered showers, scattered thunderstorms through the morning and into the afternoon. We get a break, and then we could see some redevelopment late on Tuesday night across the region as well, and then again into Wednesday morning before those will actually completely clear out of here. Then we're watching another system on Thursday, a cold front coming in, bringing us more shower and thunderstorm chances, firing up by late morning, and we could see more thunderstorms, and there's a remote possibility of maybe a strong storm or two. It's a pretty low chance right now, but we could see some thunderstorms again as we head into Thursday evening as this front rolls through, and we do cool down back behind it. We just don't cool down as significantly as we did with this last cold front. We're going to be a little chillier tomorrow, 54 with that rain across the area. Temperatures Tuesday night will actually begin to rise as we head towards sunrise. We'll make it to 72 Wednesday, 69 on Thursday with those thunderstorms, some morning showers Friday, 57, 65 on Saturday, more evening showers, and then 63 as we head into Sunday with some morning showers possible. So plenty of rain chances. However, those spring-like temperatures are finally here, and they are here to stay for at least a little while. Well, the future of prison life in California is about to get a total rehab, and Governor Gavin Newsom says it all starts with infamous San Quentin Prison. On Friday, legendary prison got a new name and a new mission when it comes to incarceration. As Cornell Bernard explains, the focus will be on preparing people on returning to society.
We want to be the preeminent restorative justice facility in the world. That's the goal.
Governor Gavin Newsom announcing California's most notorious prison is getting a new name and a new mission.
We have to be in the homecoming business. It's not just about rehabilitation, it's about homecoming.
This prison, built in 1852 and once home to California's death row, will now be called San Quentin Rehabilitation Center, where less dangerous prisoners will get education, training, and rehabilitation under a new plan modeled after Scandinavian concepts of prison life, which focus on preparing people to return to society.
We want to reduce costs. We want to ultimately reduce incarceration by keeping our communities safe. And we want to make sure that people, when they come out as fully engaged, committed members of our community and society and are contributing and not likely to re-enter into the system.
Together, we have created a place where second chances and true hope are a reality.
Governor Newsom says inmates will not have their sentences changed by enrolling in the programs. Each inmate will be evaluated individually with hope the program will end the cycle of repeat offenders. And that brings us to our question for you this morning. Should prisons rehabilitate instead of incarcerate? Yes or no? We want to hear from you. You can vote through our website at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. You can also do so in our app and take part in the discussion on our Facebook page. We'll be back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, a shortage of mental health professionals making it difficult for struggling Americans to get help. The Department of Health and Human Services estimates the U.S. could be short an estimated 10,000 mental health professionals by the year 2025. The lack of mental health workers affecting every state and is taking a toll on children, especially nearly 1 in 5 kids have mental health issues, but only 20% receive care. And that's according to the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services has announced about $25 million in funding for expanding primary health care. That includes mental health services in schools. In order to receive the school-based funding, applicants would have to add or enhance mental health services. Sanofi is cutting the price of insulin by 78%. The French drug company is seemingly responding to moves by other drug companies to cut prices and criticism of insulin prices. Lantus will now be capped at $35 out of pocket for patients. It's the most widely used insulin in the United States. Insulin is used to treat diabetes. An estimated 37 million Americans suffer from the disease. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we've got ourselves a chilly start to the day across the area, but spring officially kicks off today, and we'll have some spring-like temperatures to go with it. We'll break down your full forecast when we come back.
Right now at 5:30, the George Washington Carver Lab goes a little nutty with some experiments.
And today is the first day of spring. We're going to talk about how warm it's going to get and about some windy conditions today coming up.
Holiday Lanes in Pittsburgh holds its 4-state open bowling tournament.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:27. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So again, another cool start for us across the region. Well, just be honest, another cold start for us across the area. However, as mentioned, today is the first day of spring, and it will officially arrive this evening at around 4:24 p.m. And I know a lot of us are celebrating. We are so ready for spring to be here. And the good news is it'll start to feel like spring as we go through this week as well. MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line. We're looking good so far. Same at 7th and Range Line. Clear skies, but cold. 29 in Joplin. Feels like 21 with a south breeze at 8 miles an hour. Across the area, again, chilly start for us. We've got 33 Fort Scott, 31 Pittsburgh, Nevada, 29 Chetopa, 31 Miami, and 30 in Neosho. And even though it is a chilly start, we're upwards of 10 to 15 degrees warmer now than where we were 24 hours ago. And that is a trend that is going to continue over the next several days. As we get our day started, we will start with sunshine, mostly clear skies. And we'll also start seeing the winds increase. We're talking 25, 35 mile an hour gusts up to the mid 40s by late morning. Clouds begin to increase, and they will continue to increase as the afternoon progresses. It will remain breezy. It will get cloudy, but that won't stop it from being nice. We're looking at temperatures in the mid to upper 50s for highs today. As we head into this evening, we're looking at lows right around 40 degrees. Winds will let up for at least a little bit, and then skies might even clear briefly before clouds increase and winds pick up again heading in tomorrow, as we are watching some rain and maybe even some thunderstorm chances as we head into tomorrow morning. That will cause us to be a little bit cooler, only 54. Temperatures Tuesday night, though, will rise overnight. We'll make it up to 72 Wednesday, 69 on Thursday. Watching more thunderstorm chances. As you can see, ample shower opportunities throughout the end of the week, but check out these temperatures as they stay quite nice in the 50s and 60s. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. The George Washington Carver Lab demonstrates some nutty experiments using early 20th century technology. The lab is located at the George Washington Carver National Monument. Demonstrators show how Carver used an often overlooked plant to change the way we think about agriculture. Carver was a decorated academic with a master's and bachelor's degree in agriculture from Iowa State University.
I didn't know when I first got here the things that were made out of, like, that could be made. Like, sweet potato flour and starch became an alternative during World War I when there was a shortage of wheat, and that could be used to make bread. So you can make sweet potato bread. And it's not something you think about when you think about bread just being naturally whole grain and stuff, but there's always an alternative with, like, sweet potatoes.
The event was free to the public and lasted around 2 hours. Well, the Art Forms Gallery in Pittsburgh hosted a stained glass workshop for beginners looking to try their hand at the art form. The workshop goes over how to score, break, grind, copper foil, and solder stained glass. At the end of 5 weeks, participants will have their own glass panel to display at home.
It can become a hobby for them, and that's how I got into stained glass a long time ago. And it was a hobby for me off and on as I taught high school. Then when I retired from high school, I took it up more as something that I could sell and make. And then I moved into the fused glass as well. So what do they get out of it? They get learning something different and a potential hobby.
The event was free to the public and lasted around 2 hours. The Four-State Open Bowling Tournament kicked off its 62nd season at Holiday Lanes in Pittsburgh. Over 200 teams of 5 were competing for this year's top spot. Now, the higher the individual or team bowler places, the more money they will be awarded at the end of the season. The tournament will run every weekend from now until May 7th, but will take a break for Easter.
Bowling, as far as like from a sport aspect, a lot of people think that they're not good enough to bowl in a competition, but it's really still, it's about having fun and coming out and just having a good time.
You can find more information about this year's tournament on the Holiday Lanes website. Well, this morning we're discussing rehabilitation versus incarceration.
Governor Gavin Newsom announcing California's most notorious prison is getting a new name and a new mission.
Prison built in 1852 and once home to California's death row will now be called San Quentin Rehabilitation Center, where less dangerous prisoners will get education, training, and rehabilitation under a new plan modeled after Scandinavian concepts of prison life, which focus on preparing people to return to society.
That brings us to our question for you this morning. Should prisons rehabilitate instead of incarcerate? So far, we don't have any votes as of yet, but you can vote yes or no, and make sure you take time to do so through our website, through the app, and take part in the discussion on our Facebook page.
All right, and that's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, a disabled veteran shares his ducks with those in an assisted living home.
Plus, an attack in Huara in the occupied West Bank leaves one man seriously wounded. We'll have the latest.
You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Topping World Watch, we're learning a gunman shot and wounded an Israeli man as he and his wife drove through the Palestinian town of Huara in the occupied West Bank on Sunday. Authorities say David Stern and his wife also are American citizens. Doctors say Stern suffered wounds to his head and shoulder, but is expected to recover. His wife was in shock. Both are undergoing treatment at a hospital. Israel Defense Forces later arrested the gunman. Sunday's attack comes just weeks after a gunman shot and killed 2 Israeli brothers while driving through Huwara. Hamas said the gunman was a member of its group. The deadly shooting touched off a series of revenge attacks on both sides in the weeks since the brothers died. A deadly earthquake hits Ecuador and Peru on Saturday, killing at least a dozen people. The estimated 6.8 magnitude quake centered off the Pacific coast, shaking southern Ecuador and the northern region of neighboring Peru. You can see here buildings crumbled, leaving debris in the streets. The quake also took down power lines and interrupted electricity services in some areas. Ecuador's president Guillermo Lasso expressed his solidarity with the families of those killed. First responders have been working to rescue people from the rubble. Authorities report more than 120 people injured. The Federal Bureau of Investigation offers a $20,000 reward for information leading to a missing U.S. citizen who was kidnapped in Mexico. According to a release from the FBI's Los Angeles field office on Thursday, 63-year-old Maria del Carmen Lopez was taken from her home in Pueblo Nuevo, Colima, Mexico on February 9th. Now, she and her son and daughter tell KCAL News that a cousin witnessed the kidnapping. They reportedly saw several men force Lopez into a van after an exchange of words. So far, no arrests have been made. Mexican authorities are working with the FBI to find out what happened. Lopez is approximately 5 feet 2 inches tall with blonde hair and permanent eyeliner that is tattooed on. For the first time ever, tourists will have to pay an admission fee to visit the Pantheon, Italy's most popular cultural site. The monumental domed structure, originally an ancient Roman temple, draws millions of visitors every year. Under a new plan, it will cost about $5 for adults over 25 and half of that for everyone else. However, entrance will be free to Rome residents and people attending Mass, among others. Officials say proceeds will be split between the Culture Ministry and the Roman diocese. No word yet on when the fee will take effect. Well, tomorrow marks 20 years since the start of the U.S.-led war in Iraq. As the invasion unfolded, Charlie D'Agata was in Jordan. Tina Kraus was with the CBS News team in Kuwait. The two eventually made it into Baghdad to cover a conflict that would stretch out for 9 years. In this reporter's notebook, they reflect on the early days of their war assignment.
It's surreal being back. The street lights are on, all the shops are open. I've never known Iraq, or at least this part of Baghdad, to feel this normal. 20 years ago, when the invasion began, that skyline behind me was lit up. In fact, most of this area was lit up with explosions, airstrikes.
I think all of us were on edge. We slept with our gas masks on our pillows for weeks, and now the moment was here. The air raid sirens were blaring across Kuwait as Iraq fired missiles our way.
It was a huge story. It was also my first real war. It was the first time I had witnessed such incredible violence, such incredible firepower, the suffering, the suicide car bombings.
I remember driving into Baghdad, and I was shooting some video on my old handy cam at the time, seeing a lot of bombed out buildings, seeing, of course, a lot of American tanks. It was a U.S. occupied city. I remember there was a statue, the famous one of Saddam Hussein. Someone had written in graffiti, "All done, go home."
There were 2 hotels at Sheraton in Palestine, and we parked there for the next few weeks. Of course, there's no electricity, there's no running water.
The humming of generators on the roof just to keep us on television.
We were supposed to be up at the top of the hour.
When you're in a war zone, your colleagues become like family. You work so closely together, but we also found that with the Iraqis. I remember one man and his smile. On the rooftop of our hotel in Baghdad, he had built our wooden shack.
CBS News Bar, Baghdad.
This is the compassionate face of the U.S. military machine.
Constantly had to be on your guard. It was a very dangerous place to operate in. I remember very graphically the terrorist attack on the UN building here in Baghdad. That was as close as I've been and as immediate as I've been to a building that has been hit and seen the suffering and the death and destruction of the people. And that left a mark on me.
It is the humanity of this war that I can't forget. It's so many children on the streets. It's a little boy in particular named Muhammad who outside our hotel every morning would give me a big smile. He had no one around taking care of him, but he came back every day.
They're expecting a high voter turnout.
I remember the first election day very well. It was a real act of courage to see the men and women of Iraq take part in these elections and risking their lives to do so. The bomb that killed Paul Douglas and James Brolin in 2006 was something that impacted everybody at CBS News. We never come back to Iraq without remembering Paul and James and the sacrifice that they made.
If there's a lesson to be learned from this war for me, it's how fragile life can be. The deaths of our colleagues, the deaths of all the U.S. troops, the deaths of hundreds of thousands of Iraqis, many who are still so scarred deeply by this conflict.
If today is anything to judge by, with the traffic and the shops open, and the checkpoints down, and the blast walls down, and the razor wire down, maybe there's reason to be hopeful.
20 years ago, I was working with the CBS affiliate KCTV5 in Kansas City when the war broke out. I remember both of them. More than 4,500 U.S. troops were killed as a result of the war in Iraq, and researchers estimate more than 400,000 Iraqis lost their lives during the conflict. Let's look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Today is the day we've all been waiting for. It's the first day of spring, and it officially starts at 4:24 this evening. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline looks good, but it is cold. It does not feel like spring yet. We're at 29 in Joplin, clear skies. 21 is what it feels like with the south breeze at 8 miles an hour. That south breeze, though, is going to continue to bring in warmer air across the area. 32, Iola Yates Center, Fort Scott. 31 in Pittsburgh. 32, Miami. 30, Neosho. And 29 in Carthage. And even though it is still a cold start for us, we're upwards of about 10 to 15 degrees warmer across the board than we were 24 hours ago. And that warming trend, I have some great news. It is going to continue as we head through this week. And we're going to start our day clear to mostly clear. And then we're going to see the winds increasing. We're talking wind gusts 25 to 35 miles an hour. So outdoor burning definitely not recommended because we're still quite dry. And then clouds begin to increase toward late morning. We're into the mid-40s. As we go through the day, clouds will continue to increase until we're just plain old cloudy out there. Still breezy, but even though it's cloudy, still going to warm up mid to upper 50s for highs this afternoon. So a nice day otherwise. As we head into this evening, we hang on to the clouds. Winds will let up briefly before they start gusting again as we head into tomorrow. We might even get a break in the clouds this evening before they build in again overnight, and we drop back down to a low of 40. And the reason those clouds are going to increase again as we head into the overnight is this. So we head into about 6, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. We'll start to see some scattered showers, maybe some thunderstorms across the area. These will carry on through the morning hours and into the early afternoon and late afternoon and early evening before they start to clear out. And then we could see some additional showers redevelop for some of us as we head into late Tuesday into Wednesday morning. And then these will clear out pretty quickly. And by Wednesday, we're looking really, really good before we see a cold front with more showers and thunderstorms as we head into Thursday. And we'll continue to watch for those thunderstorms to develop along this front as we head into Thursday evening and even into the overnight and early Friday morning. Could still have some lingering showers out there before we eventually get another break, but then we'll have more showers after that. So a lot of rain chances coming up. We're 54 tomorrow, so a bit cooler. Then Tuesday night, temperatures will warm and we'll make it up eventually to 72 on Wednesday. That's thunderstorms Thursday, 69. That cold front only knocks us down to 57 for Friday. Holding on to those shower chances through the weekend. Temperatures in the 60s, upper 50s by next Monday, 60 by next Tuesday, mid 60s by next Wednesday. But as you see, some additional shower chances throughout the next several days. But despite those shower chances, you can see the spring-like temperatures are going to hold on across the area. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Military veteran from southern New Jersey is sharing his love for birds with a group of seniors. Jeremy Piat is disabled and suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder. He and his fiance bought and raised birds as emotional support animals. And he shared some of his favorite animals when he visited an assisted living facility in Vineland on Sunday. Mateo Iandonisha has details.
Hi there, Ducky. How are you?
There's two, Caramel and Peepers. I did the military from 2003 to 2013, joined the Navy, and then I joined the Army. Well, we got mortared and rocketed pretty much every day. And thank you for your service. My name is Jeremy.
Thank you for yours.
PTSD is kind of a thorn in a person's side. And I've been struggling with work, and I believe that this is my calling to share my love with animals with other people. Oh, we started out with chickens. My fiance wanted ducks, and we saw ducks at the store, and then we started raising them, and then
oh my goodness.
A couple ducks grew into about almost 30 now.
Precious.
It's kind of like emotional support. So I figured, just go around to different nursing homes and just kind of share them with the residents.
Thank you for bringing them in.
It's therapeutic for them, and it's also therapeutic for me. You can pet them.
May I?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I like animals. And they're my buddies. Yeah, I was brought up on a farm. He's so pretty. I had a little duck once. I got a feather. And I really enjoy them. I say goodbye.
Well, one of those ducks kept pecking at my left hand. I guess she thought that there was something to eat there.
So you were with 6th Fleet?
Yeah, we try to remember all of our veterans. Yeah, I was in the Navy, 4 years active. I proudly served at the end of September 1954 to the end of August 1958.
Thank you for serving our country, honey.
I appreciate it. Coming into the nursing home, it's no place for somebody to be depressed. They're still living their life.
Beautiful feathers.
As long as I'm alive, I'm definitely going to keep on doing this and serving my country. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I enjoyed that.
No problem.
Oh, what a great idea. Piat travels around the region and visits senior citizen homes with his beloved ducks. They seem like sweet ducks, too. We'll be right back. Scientists in Japan have discovered a new species of orchid. The pink and white blooms of the flower are so delicate and fragile that they look like they were spun from glass. It was identified in parks, gardens, and planters in Tokyo Prefecture. Now, the newly described flower is a neighbor to populations of a related orchid common in the country. And according to scientists, it is an important reminder that unknown species are often living right under our noses. Well, here's something you might not have considered while planning your next beach vacation. An onslaught of sargassum seaweed might be moving toward Florida with stretches so large they're visible from space. The European Space Agency is sharing this satellite image. It's not one giant mass, but rather a slew of teardrop-shaped blobs that stretch over 60 miles in the Atlantic Ocean. Another image shows two stretches in the Caribbean Sea spanning about 7 miles. Most of the seaweed is still hundreds of miles from the U.S., but some is off the coast of Key Largo now. If too much of it comes on shore, it can overwhelm beaches, rot on the sand, and give off a bad smell. It can also irritate your nose and lungs. Sargassum is actually what creates bigger islands, so it can be a good thing. The London Zoo has shared images of an adorable mother-child moment just ahead of Mother's Day, which was observed in the UK on this Sunday. This is 3-month-old two-toed sloth Nova, clinging to her mother, Marilyn, in a tender embrace. Now, Nova was born on New Year's Day and has been staying close to Marilyn ever since, as it is critical for the development of a baby sloth. The newborn will stay attached to mom for at least another 9 months until it's strong enough to swing from branches solo at the zoo's living rainforest. Nova's gender is not yet known. In the coming months, zookeepers will test hair samples to determine the gender. Well, if you love the outdoors and don't mind interacting with the occasional bear, then a job may be waiting for you in New Mexico. The State Department of Game and Fish posted a job on Facebook that says it's looking for professional bear huggers. Here you go, Chris. The post includes photos showing workers cuddling baby bears. Now, the agency is actually looking to hire conservation officers, and interactions with bears is only one part of the job. Now, the listing says the department is looking for someone who likes to hike in strenuous conditions, has the courage to crawl into a bear den, and will trust coworkers to keep them safe during the process. Wowzers. The department says the job is guaranteed to bring someone the experience of a lifetime. Those interested have until March 30th to apply.
I can't say that's something I'm going to apply for, but there are folks out there that might enjoy that, so make sure you do so before the month is up. As we go through today, we are going to start chilly. We're going to be clear to mostly clear. Winds pick up, start gusting 25, 35 miles an hour. We're partly cloudy and in the mid-40s by late morning. Clouds will continue to increase through the afternoon until we're just plain old cloudy. We'll stay breezy but warm. Temperatures in the mid to upper 50s for our first day of spring. We're down to 40 tonight. Wind lets up briefly. Clouds might even clear briefly before they return as we head into tomorrow morning, because we're going to see some showers, maybe even a few thunderstorms kicking off about 6 a.m. Only 54, so a little cooler. 72 Wednesday, more storms on Thursday, and 69. Shower chances Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but temperatures stay spring-like. So we're in the upper 50s and then the lower to mid 60s as we head into the upcoming weekend. We've got another hour of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
The day. Right now at 6, two vehicles collide in Carl Junction over the weekend, and the crash takes the life of a Florida man.
We've got a chilly but clear start for us across the area for the first day of spring, but is it going to be spring-like temperature-wise? We'll take a look at that and some rain chances coming up.
And a four-state bowling tradition finds its way back to Holiday Lanes in Pittsburgh for its 62nd tradition.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. Just after 6 o'clock, bit of a cold start for some of us across the region, but that's all right. It is eventually going to warm. So there's a little preview for you, because today it's the first day of spring. So that is something I know many of us have been waiting for across the area, and spring will officially begin as we head into this evening at 4:24 p.m. is when it officially kicks off. And right around that time, we're going to have some spring-like temperatures to go with it. MoDOT camera, 20th and Rangeline. We've got clear skies, but we are cold. Same at 7th and Rangeline. 33 in Joplin, feels like 24 with a south breeze at about 11 miles an hour. And that wind will pick up a little bit later today as well. 33 in Iola, 31 Parsons, Chatopa, 32 Miami, Neosho, and 33 in Carthage. And even though it is a cold start, we're about 10 to 15 degrees, closing in on 20 degrees warmer now than we were 24 hours ago, because yesterday morning, we kicked off things in the upper teens. So this is much better, and it will continue to improve. Now we're going to start the day with clear to mostly clear skies. As we head through the morning, winds start gusting 25 to 35 miles an hour, and it will start to warm up to about the mid-40s by late morning. We're looking at highs today, pushing the mid to upper 50s across the area. Clouds increase, though, and we stay breezy. We'll be cloudy by this afternoon. We remain cloudy for our evening. Winds calm down briefly and clouds may even clear briefly before they'll build in again overnight with a low of 40. And we do have rain chances as we head into our Tuesday and then again on Thursday, and we'll take a look at your complete forecast here in just a few more minutes. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. A two-vehicle crash on the north side of Carl Junction takes the life of a Florida man. Shortly after noon on Sunday, a 2022 Honda Civic crossed the center line and struck a 2019 Freightliner conventional cab. The driver of the Civic, Dorian Francis of Pembroke Pines, Florida, was the only occupant. He died at the scene. The roadway was closed for 4 hours for crash investigation. The driver of the semi was not injured. Body camera footage shows an off-duty Oklahoma City police captain who was pulled over for an alleged DUI, asking the arresting officer to turn off his body camera. According to incident reports and the body camera video, Captain James French was pulled over after an officer allegedly saw his SUV swerve and turn without signaling early on Sunday morning. When asked how much he had to drink, French says he had 3 or 4 beers at a poker game, and then asked Skinner again to turn off his body camera. French was arrested and booked on charges of driving under the influence of alcohol and failure to signal intention to turn. Oklahoma City police say French is on administrative leave pending the outcome of an investigation. The George Washington Carver Lab demonstrates some nutty experiments using early 20th century technology. The lab is located at the George Washington Carver National Monument. Demonstrators show how Carver used an often overlooked plant, the sweet potato, to change the way we think about agriculture. Carver was a decorated academic with a master's and bachelor's degree in agriculture from Iowa State University.
I mean, it comes into major play because if you're trying to feed your families or if you're trying to make a living as a farmer, being able to grow of diverse types of crops and then having diverse products, it gives you a reason to grow them and a reason, and still they can be nutritious and help take care of your family.
The event was free to the public and lasted around 2 hours. The four-state open bowling tournament kicked off its 62nd season at Holiday Lanes in Pittsburgh. Over 200 teams of 5 are competing for this year's top spot. The higher the team or individual bowler places, the more money they will be awarded at the end of the season. Tournament will run every weekend from now until May 7th, but will take a break for Easter.
I think bowling overall has kind of dropped down, but I notice now the younger kids are getting back involved with it, and that's good for the sport. And Holiday Lanes does a super job of being open and being prepared for this stuff, and so we enjoy it. And I just hope it keeps going.
You can find more information about this year's tournament on the Holiday Lanes website. Reaction rolled in this weekend after former President Trump called on his supporters to protest what he believes is his imminent arrest. There's no evidence an arrest is coming. There are, though, new developments in the Manhattan grand jury's investigation into Trump and his former attorney's alleged hush money payments to an adult film star. Jared Hill has the latest.
Sources tell CBS News that attorney Robert Costello, the former legal advisor to ex-Trump lawyer Michael Cohen, could be called before a Manhattan grand jury to discredit Cohen's testimony today. The Manhattan District Attorney is investigating alleged hush money payments made to adult film star Stormy Daniels on Trump's behalf by his former attorney Michael Cohen at a crucial moment in the 2016 campaign. Trump denies any wrongdoing. Sources say Cohen has been asked to be available as a rebuttal witness if needed. Former President Trump was seen Saturday at the NCAA Wrestling Championships, just hours after he claimed he would be arrested in the case on Tuesday and called for protests. He urged supporters to, quote, take our nation back. Some prominent Republicans and the former president's supporters spoke out in his defense.
It just feels like a politically charged prosecution here.
How many times have they tried to indict him? How many times have they tried to do this? And nothing has stuck.
Trump's legal team says his predictions are based on media reports, not any communication with the Manhattan DA's office. But the former president's calls for protest have put federal and local law enforcement on high alert. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy said any potential demonstrations should be peaceful.
We want calmness out there. Nobody put violence or harm to anything else.
Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg sent an email to his staff insisting safety is the top priority and that, quote, we do not tolerate attempts to intimidate our office. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
Former President Trump is also facing criminal probes in Georgia and Washington, D.C. related to possible attempts to change the results of the 2020 presidential election. The Justice Department has also been presenting evidence before a grand jury investigating hundreds of classified materials found at his Mar-a-Lago home. Well, to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, ever wanted to learn CPR? And now there's an app for that too.
Learning to save a life. I'm Nichelle Medina with a new app that teaches CPR in just a few easy steps.
And President Biden and the Ted Lasso cast team up to take on the topic of mental health. And Chris takes a look at your chilly Monday morning forecast and when we can expect to see warmer temps. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Topping Nation Watch this morning, 5 young people were killed in a fiery car crash in New York. Public safety officials in Westchester County say the 4 males and 1 female killed ranged in age from 8 to 17. They were all from Connecticut. Authorities say it appears a 16-year-old was behind the wheel when the car veered off the road, hit a tree, and burst into flames just after midnight Sunday. No other vehicles were involved. The only survivor of the crash was a 9-year-old boy who was apparently in the car's hatchback area and escaped from the rear of the car. Police are now investigating to figure out what caused the crash. Avalanches in Colorado are to blame for the deaths of 2 people over the weekend. Authorities say 1 person died near Marble and was found buried in 4 feet of snow on Saturday. 2nd person died in Aspen on Sunday. 2 other skiers got caught in the avalanche but managed to free themselves. The Colorado Avalanche Information Center says avalanches have killed 9 people so far during this ski and snowboarding season. Well, as soon as people in the area saw what happened as they were asleep, they quickly organized a cleanup effort to show support. Peyton Muse spoke with neighbors who wanted to show that hate will not be tolerated in their community.
Neighbors and friends joining together to erase the hate spread across the Sylvan Park neighborhood. Oscar Anderson and his wife say they were notified by police Sunday morning.
I walked out with them thinking they had just used graffiti or something, a tag, a sign, not knowing that it was going to be the kind of hate language and symbols that they used. It was very shocking.
Even young children scrubbing the bias messages spray painted on this home. 1 of 5 tagged across multiple streets, including swastikas and the words white power.
It just kind of reassures us that this is the neighborhood we think it is, and this is the neighborhood that doesn't accept nor believe in the messages that we received.
Neighbors like Catherine Furbish setting an example to counter hostility with actions of love and peace.
If there is any bright side to this, it is that we get to show our children the hate that is out there, like actually drawn up on a wall today, and how we can do something about it.
The owner of the home vandalized tells me this type of rhetoric must never be accepted, and the biased vandals held accountable.
This is not the city nor the state that we live in. We're stronger than this message that they put on our walls.
Barbara Dabb with the Jewish Federation of Nashville says many communities continue to be targets of bigotry.
It goes a lot deeper than just one image. This is a culture, this is a group that wants to create hate, spread hate, foment fear among people.
The Sylvan Park community banding together to refuse to accept those messages of hate and intimidation.
Cast of the popular TV show Ted Lasso is heading to the White House on Monday. Actor Jason Sudeikis and other cast members will join President Biden and First Lady Dr. Jill Biden for a conversation on mental health. The Emmy Award-winning show has tackled the issue of mental health in its storyline. Ted Lasso, played by Sudeikis, is a soccer coach of often paralyzed by panic attacks, and he seeks therapy to help him. White House officials said Monday's meeting will focus on the importance of addressing a person's mental health to promote overall wellness. That's a look at one of today's top national stories. Here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
We've got ourselves another cold start across the 4 states, but today is the first day of spring, and we are 15 to 20 degrees warmer this morning than we were 24 hours ago. Remember, yesterday morning, we kicked that day off in the upper teens, and we're doing better today. We will continue to do better throughout the week, but we've also got a number of rain chances on the way. We're going to take a look at that full forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 6:17 on this Monday morning across the area. Time for a little weather trivia, and we want to know, what is the phenomenon in which sun rays are visible out of the top or potentially the bottom of a cloud? Is it opticus fibris, sun ladders, crepuscular rays, or aurora borealis? While you think about that, we will take a look at that forecast. 7th range line, we've got clear skies out there, but it is on the chilly side. However, even though it is on the chilly side, today is officially the first day of spring, and it will officially kick off at 4:24 this evening, and we're looking to be quite spring-like about that time. We got decent conditions too. MoDOT camera 20th in range line. So back to those temperatures again. It's a cold start for us. 33 in Joplin, feels like 24 with that south breeze at 11, and that breeze will pick up later today. Actually, it'll pick up in the next 2 or 3 hours. 33 Iola, Chanute, 31 Neodesha, Parsons, Chatopa, 32 Miami, Neosho, and 33 in Carthage. And although yes, it is a cold start, we're upwards of 15, almost 20 degrees warmer now than we were 24 hours ago, because as we mentioned yesterday, we kicked the day off in the upper teens. We're going to stay clear to mostly clear to start our day, still a bit on the chilly side. Winds start to pick up this morning, about 25 to 35 miles an hour. We'll start to see a few more clouds by late morning into the mid-40s. As we go into the afternoon, we stay breezy. Clouds increase to the point that we are just plain old cloudy out there. However, that won't stop us from warming up with highs in the mid to upper 50s as we go through today. Heading into this evening, we remain cloudy. Winds will let up briefly. In fact, the clouds may even clear out briefly this evening before they return heading into the overnight. Same with the winds, down to a low of 40 degrees. So here's what we're taking a look at as we head into tomorrow. The reason the clouds increase is this right here. So we head into about 6, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Some showers, maybe a few thunderstorms out there. Those persist through the morning and into the late afternoon, early evening. That clears out. Then we could see some additional development late Tuesday night, and that'll hold on maybe through early Wednesday morning before it clears out. Check out Wednesday. That's not a mistake, guys. It's going to be pretty decent. Then as we head into Thursday, we get a cold front. So late morning by about noon, we'll start to see some showers. Then maybe some thunderstorms firing up along this front across the area, and these will persist with us through the evening, into the overnight, and into early Friday morning before that will eventually begin to clear out of here as well. So let's find out the answer to our question. What is the phenomenon in which sun rays are visible out of the top or bottom of a cloud? Well, if you happen to pick that tough one, C, crepuscular rays. We're going to go with that. You would be right. And so you see, we are able to see the light so well due to reflection, scattering, and diffraction. It didn't highlight the right answer, but C was the right answer, I promise. All right, so rain tomorrow, a little cooler, 54, 72 Wednesday, 69 Thursday. Those thunderstorms, that cools us down a little bit, back to the upper 50s Friday. More shower chances as we head into Saturday and Sunday, but still in the 60s. More shower chances Monday and then next Wednesday, but check out these temperatures staying nice and spring-like. Upper 50s to mid-60s. That's a check of your forecast. We're back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, nearly half of parents say they would definitely know if their child was vaping. That's according to a national poll from the University of Michigan. This despite the fact that vaping devices are easy to hide. 80% also think their adolescent or teen understands the health risk, with few believing their child has tried it. CDC data from last year found that 14% of high schoolers and 3% of middle schoolers said they had recently vaped. New study of hospital patients and their pets finds multi-drug resistant organisms can be transmitted between cats and dogs and their owners. Findings were presented at the European Congress of Clinical Microbiology and Infectious Diseases. Researchers add only a small number of cases were found, suggesting pets are not a major source of antibiotic-resistant infections in hospital patients. And a new study suggests patients with mental illness may have higher levels of oral disease. Researchers from the University of California looked at 6 oral health conditions, including bleeding gums and bone loss around the teeth. They found they were significantly more prevalent among patients with severe mental health problems. Well, since Buffalo Bills player Damar Hamlin's life was saved on the field, there's been a big push to get more people trained to use CPR and a defibrillator. One California doctor has made it his mission to help people learn how to save lives. Nichelle Medina has a look at the app he created that can teach the life-saving techniques in just a few simple steps.
In a medical emergency, time is of the essence to begin life-saving measures.
I am matching my pace with the timer. Inside UC San Diego's Simulation Training Center,
Don't feel pulse.
researchers have been testing the Rescue Me CPR app.
This app could be used by anybody, whether they have experience in cardiopulmonary resuscitation or not.
Dr. Mark Greenberg developed the app along with medical student Brennan Marsh Armstrong. For Dr. Greenberg, it was personal after a loved one witnessed an emergency.
There was a kid on the couch who all of a sudden, when we looked over, was blue and not breathing. I said, well, what would you have liked to have? And they said, I wish we had an app. I said, I'm going to make one.
Through visual, voice, and text prompts, CPR can be done on anyone experiencing an opioid overdose or any type of cardiac arrest.
The more people that know CPR, the more likelihood that someone will be around you that can perform CPR when it's needed.
This person needs CPR.
It gives you a choice, you make the choice, and then you move on to the next. And within 45 seconds, you're already doing chest compressions.
Every year in the U.S., there are 350,000 out-of-hospital cardiac arrests. CPR can double or triple the chances of survival.
When there's an emergency, do people tend to forget what to do?
They do, and one of the main features of this app is that it keeps them on task.
Dr. Greenberg says his goal is to get Rescue Me CPR on as many phones as possible.
Life-saving is important. Every life counts.
Saving lives one download at a time. Nichelle Medina, CBS News, San Diego.
Dr. Greenberg is working on a pediatric and Spanish version of the Rescue Me app. It is free on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Well, today is the first day of spring officially kicking off at 4:24 this evening or this afternoon, whichever way you look at it. We do have a cold start across the area. Temperatures for the most part lower to mid-30s across the region. Despite the fact it's cold, look at these wind arrows. They're coming in out of the south. Warm air is on the way for our first day of spring. In fact, we are upwards of 10 to almost 20 degrees warmer than where we were yesterday morning, because yesterday morning, it was in the upper teens. Not spring-like at all, but today is going to be a bit more spring-like, and we've got some rain chances coming in down the road. We're going to take a look at your full forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Right now at 6:30, people pack the Owensville High School gymnasium to honor a fallen Herman police officer taken in the line of duty.
It's a clear but cold start for us across the area. However, warmer weather is on the way as early as today. We'll talk about that coming up.
And art students get to see the world through rose, amber, and teal-colored glass as the Art Forms Gallery in Pittsburgh hosts a stained glass workshop.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's now 6:29. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So it is, again, as we mentioned, it is a cold start for us today, but it beats starting out in the upper teens by a long shot. And the good news is there's more warm weather on the way, and that's arriving as early as today. MoDOT camera, 20th and Rangeline. We got clear skies. We're looking good out there. Same at 7th and Rangeline. The only thing is it's cold. It's 33 in Joplin. It feels like 24 right now. That south breeze blowing at about 11 miles an hour. Across the region, temperatures for the most part are in the lower to mid 30s across the region. Save Stockton and Cassville, both still in the upper 20s. We got 31s in Nevada, Lamar, Pittsburgh, Parsons, Independence, Sedan, Neodesha. 33 Chanute, 32 Chatopa and Miami, 31 Neosho, at 32 in Carthage. And like I said, even though it's cold, it still puts us anywhere from 10 to almost 20 degrees warmer now than we were this time yesterday. We will continue to see the clear to mostly clear skies through the morning. However, as we go through the morning, winds are going to pick up. We're going to see gusts 25 to 35 miles an hour, and we'll start to see partly cloudy skies by late morning, temperatures in the mid 40s. And as we head into the afternoon, we stay breezy. Clouds increase to the point we're just plain old cloudy out there, but we still make it in the mid to upper 50s for our highs. As we head into this evening, we'll see the winds let up briefly. Clouds might even break up briefly before all of that returns overnight. We drop back down to an overnight low of 40 degrees, and the clouds are returning ahead of some showers, maybe some thunderstorms tomorrow morning, kicking off about 6 a.m., and they'll persist with us, and then they might come back in the evening as well. A little cooler, 54, 72 Wednesday, 69 Thursday, cold front with some thunderstorms, knocks us down to 57 Friday. Shower chances into the weekend, but temperatures remaining in the 60s. So spring will get here, and it is going to be beautiful, albeit a bit wet. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. On Sunday, officers from dozens of Missouri law enforcement agencies and a number of rural communities gathered for a public visitation and funeral services for 34-year-old Sergeant Mason Griffith. Griffith and another officer, Adam Solentroop, both of the Hermann, Missouri Police Department, were shot 1 week ago Sunday, March 12th, after confronting a man with warrants out for his arrest inside a convenience store in the Gaston County town. Mark Slavitt has the report.
Thousands of people packed the Owensville High School gymnasium to say goodbye to Hermann police officer Mason Griffith, including his wife and 2 sons, and Hermann Police Chief Marlon Walker.
God bless you, Mason. I love you dearly, friend. I'm going to miss you, but we'll take it from here. So you rest easy, man.
A procession of hundreds of law enforcement and emergency vehicles followed the funeral services. The procession started at the high school and ended in the nearby town of Rosebud, where Mason Griffith served as police chief. Supporters of law enforcement camped out along the procession to show their appreciation for fallen officer Mason Griffith.
I think that we're all in still shock that something could happen in such a small town in mid-Missouri. So I think that it's hit home for a lot of people.
Law enforcement officials transferred Griffith's body from a hearse to a horse-drawn wagon near the end of the procession. Griffith rode the final part of the procession on the wagon before he went to his final resting place in Rosebud's Emmanuel Lutheran Cemetery. People like Melissa Rucker never knew Mason Griffith, but they were compelled to attend the services.
Coming from a law enforcement family, again, it's very humble to see everybody come out, and it's very sad.
Governor Mike Parson issued a statement saying Mason Griffith's death is a reminder of the countless good deeds our law enforcement officers routinely perform each day. His time with us was too short, but we will always remain grateful to him and his family for their sacrifice. Reporting in Owensville, Mark Slavitt, KRCG 13.
Officer Solentroop remains hospitalized but in stable condition. Donations to the Solentroop family are being collected by branches of First State Community Bank under an account called Adam Solentroop Benefit. Well, the Art Farms Gallery in Pittsburgh, Kansas hosted a stained glass workshop for beginners looking to try their hand at the art form. The workshop goes over how to score, break, grind, copper foil, and solder stained glass. At the end of 5 weeks, participants will have their own glass panel to display at home.
So happy that I'm able to provide that opportunity for the area people. We have people here from Parsons and outside Parsons and Joplin that come from the 4-state area, not just Pittsburgh. So I think it's something that people see stained glass in windows, they admire, they love, and it's like, oh, I wonder if I could do that. And they find out they can.
Materials were provided by the instructor. Well, this morning we're discussing rehabilitation versus incarceration.
Governor Gavin Newsom announcing California's most notorious prison is getting a new name and a new mission.
Prison built in 1852 and was once home to California's death row will be now called San Quentin Rehabilitation Center, where less dangerous prisoners will get education, training, and rehabilitation under a new plan modeled after Scandinavian concepts of prison life, which focus on preparing people to return to society. That brings us to our question for you this morning. Should prisons rehabilitate instead of incarcerate? Well, 62% of you say that they should, 38% of you say they should not. So make sure you take time to vote through our website, the app, and take part in the discussion on our Facebook page. That's right. And that's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, American-made whiskey sales rise over 11% last year, and the biggest buyer is countries in Europe. We've got the details. And even though it's a chilly start, we've got a nice warm day for us today. We'll take a look at that full forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. In Consumer Watch this morning, banking giant UBS agrees to purchase Swiss rival Credit Suisse for just over $3 billion in a deal backed by the Swiss government. The deal, which is expected to be complete by the end of the year, comes days after Credit Suisse borrowed nearly $54 billion from the Swiss National Bank to shore up its liquidity, following the collapse of two American banks, Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank. Speaking of Signature Bank, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, or FDIC, announced late Sunday that it has sold a huge chunk of the bank to Flagstar Bank. The subsidiary of the New York Community Bank paid $2.7 billion to purchase most of Signature Bank's deposits. The FDIC says all of Signature Bank's 40 former branches will operate with normal business hours starting today under Flagstar Bank. You may want to check your freezer. Scenic Fruit Company's recalling frozen organic tropical fruit blend sold to Trader Joe's and frozen organic strawberries. Frozen strawberries were sold under various company labels to multiple retailers, including Costco and Aldi. Food and Drug Administration says there have been at least 5 infections linked to the fruit. In rare occasions, hepatitis A can cause liver failure. Consumers are advised to throw the fruit away or return it to the store for a refund. Well, American-made whiskey sales rose nearly 11% last year to reach more than $5 billion. And guess who's buying all that booze? Exports grew 30% last year to reach $1.28 billion, and countries in Europe are the biggest importers of American whiskey. It's also getting a lot more popular right here as established brands expand their offerings and small distilleries get more attention. The U.S. government launches a criminal investigation into TikTok's parent company ByteDance over improper access to the personal information of several U.S. citizens. According to Forbes and the New York Times, TikTok confirmed in December that after an internal review, 4 ByteDance employees had been fired for surveilling some Americans, including 2 journalists. Since ByteDance is owned by a Chinese company, there are fears the Chinese government could pressure them to hand over data on its American users. This week, the Biden administration threatened a nationwide ban on TikTok unless its Chinese owners sell it. The Department of Justice, FBI, and U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia are reportedly involved in the investigation. That's it for Consumer Watch. Here's Chris with another look at your forecast.
Yeah, quick check of our day as we get it going. We've got a decent start. It's a little chilly, up to the mid-40s by late morning. We'll hold on to clear to mostly clear skies for the morning, but we're also going to see winds pick up in that 25 to 35 mile an hour range as we head into the morning. We'll start to see some partly cloudy skies by late morning, and that is ahead of just plain old cloudy skies. As clouds increase today, we stay breezy, and we're looking at decent highs in the mid to upper 50s across the areas, so much better than where we had been over the weekend. We'll have another complete look at that forecast in just a moment, but first, it's Monday. We get it. It's cold out, so why don't we start off your week on a festive note? We're going to celebrate some birthdays and anniversaries. They're coming up next, but before we get to that, we're going to check out what's happening on CBS Mornings.
I'm Nate Burleson. Coming up on CBS Mornings, former senator and Saturday Night Live writer Al Franken joins us to discuss guest hosting The Daily Show and the current state of comedy and politics. That's coming up on CBS Mornings.
Time for some Monday birthdays across the 4 states, and we begin with a belated birthday going out to Henry Bush in Pittsburgh, celebrating birthday number 1 on Friday. Happy birthday, Henry.
Right, Aurora June celebrating birthday number 5 this year in Thayer, Kansas. Happy birthday, love, coming to Junebug from Dad, Mom, and the J-Boys.
And we've got Canton Bugney celebrating birthday number 8 in Pittsburgh. Hey, very happy birthday to you, Canton.
In Columbus, Lucas Natalini turning 9 years old. Looks like he's a winner there. Happy birthday, Lucas.
And another Friday birthday coming to us from Pittsburgh in Bryson Pitts, celebrating birthday number 9. Happy belated birthday, Bryson.
All right, and happy birthday going out to Elizabeth Falk, who's 9 years old now in Pittsburgh.
And we've got Nayali Baldwin celebrating birthday number 15 in Oswego. Very happy birthday to you.
All right, and Tristan Johnston celebrating birthday number 18 this year. Happy birthday to Tristan in Oswego.
And Bram Bourne celebrating birthday number 19 in Girard. Very happy birthday to you.
All right, and we've got a Nashville resident, formerly from Frontenac, Kansas, Miss Maggie Evans, who's now 26 years old.
And Tristan Nesbitt celebrating birthday number 26 with love from Dad, Dana, and the family.
All right, in Girard, Patricia Greenwood, turning 33 years old.
And Jennifer Westervelt in Columbus celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday, Jennifer.
Larry Chambers, turning 40 this year in Arma, Kansas.
And Peggy Coble celebrating a birthday in Columbus. Happy birthday, Peggy.
All right, Sean Brown turning the big 6-0 this year in Pittsburgh. Birthday wishes coming from brother, dad, and grandpa, and these are his granddaughters in the photo.
And we've got Craig Giacometti celebrating birthday number 69 in Frontenac. Happy birthday, Craig.
All right, and Joe Herman turning 71 years old this year. Happy birthday from the grandkids, Minnie, Evie, Ty, Brody, and Dylan.
And Dolly Robinson celebrating a Sunday birthday in Columbus. A very happy birthday to you, Dolly.
Good picture there of Dolly. And let's see, there right in the front, Mr. Don Myers celebrating birthday number 104 this year. Hope it's a wonderful one out in Carthage.
Incredible milestone there, Don. Happy birthday. And this list, boy, what a good one it is. It continues with Addison Stevens celebrating a birthday. Happy birthday, Addison.
Mickey Alexander in Erie, Kansas. Happy birthday, Mickey.
Lisa Alsop celebrating birthday number 63, our neighboring Crestline. Happy birthday, Lisa.
And Anita Quinn in Webb City. A belated birthday wish going out to you.
And last but not least, Harold Westoff celebrating birthday number 65 in St. Paul. Happy birthday to everyone on this incredible list. We want to keep it incredible. Tanya, where do these folks need to keep sending these things to?
All they have to do is send it to this email. Don't forget the S on birthdays here. birthdays@KOAMnewsnow.com.
And of course, while you're on our website checking out all the really cool things it has to offer, make sure you take time to sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club. You get great deals from local businesses. You also get a special birthday message from your friends here at KOAM. So just head over to KOAMnewsnow.com and sign up for that birthday club today. All right, let's take a look at that forecast for you. So we've got clear skies on the MoDOT camera at 20th and Range Line, looking good so far. And those clear skies aren't going to last, unfortunately. And we are a bit cold this morning. 33 in Joplin, feels like 24 with a south breeze at 11. That wind is going to increase later today. Across the area, 34 Iola, 31 Parsons, 32 Chetopa, Miami, 31 Neosho, at 33 in Carthage. And even though it is a cold start, yeah, yesterday I checked my phone. I update the temperature manually. I updated it yesterday morning just before 8. Yeah, it was 17 degrees at 8 o'clock in the morning. So this is much better as we are 10 to almost 20 degrees warmer than where we were 24 hours ago. As we go through the morning, we'll hold on to clear to mostly clear skies for the majority of our morning. And we'll also see the winds start to pick up, gusts 25 to 35 miles an hour, temperatures into the mid 40s by late morning. As we head into the afternoon, we stay breezy, clouds increase until we are just cloudy, but temperatures still warm for our first day of spring, mid to upper 50s across the area. As we head into this evening, the winds will die down a bit, and then the clouds might even break up briefly before the winds and the clouds return overnight. We drop back down to a low of 40, and that is ahead of tomorrow morning rains, kicking off about 6 a.m. 54 across the area, so a little bit cooler. 72 on Wednesday. So what we'll do is we'll take a step back here and look at these rain chances. So about 6, 7 o'clock, we'll see some scattered showers, maybe a thunderstorm or two. These will persist with us into the early afternoon hours. They'll clear out, and then as we head later into the night on Tuesday, could see some redevelopment of some additional showers across the area. Now, what's fun about Tuesday night is temperatures will begin to rise overnight ahead of things getting much warmer on Wednesday. Could still see a stray morning shower Wednesday, otherwise cloudy, not bad temperature-wise. Cold front Thursday comes in. That's going to bring us some showers by late morning, early afternoon, and then that'll evolve into thunderstorms along this front as we head into the late afternoon and evening hours. And we'll hold on to those showers overnight Thursday and into Friday morning with additional shower chances this upcoming weekend. So now to that 7-day. 54 tomorrow, 72 on Wednesday, 69 Thursday with those storms, 57 on Friday. We're going to hang out in the 60s. degrees for the weekend, so not bad at all, but even though we have those shower chances, more shower chances Monday, 57, 60 next Tuesday, and even though we have more shower chances by next Wednesday, our spring-like temperatures hold on as we get back into the mid-60s, so not a bad week ahead at all. Well, coming up when the KOAM Morning News switches over to Fox 14, we're taking you to Detroit, the home of American automotives, to celebrate the life of another American icon, Rosie the Riveter. We'll meet a group of women who are rolling up their sleeves and keeping the Motor City running, the perfect story for Women's History Month. We've got all that and more when the KOAM Morning News transitions over to Fox 14 on 7 a.m. But coming up on CBS Mornings, Nikki Batiste takes a look at the reality of in vitro fertilization, or IVF. As many as 1 in 8 couples struggle to conceive, either due to female or male infertility, or perhaps both. We're going to learn more about the process as she meets a couple from State College, Pennsylvania, who are 4 years into their IVF journey.
When you want to be something so bad, you'll do whatever it takes.
I hope this little embryo is the one. Us too. Because I think we are tired.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Shortly after noon Sunday, a 2022 Honda Civic crossed the center line and struck a 2019 Freightliner conventional cab. Driver of the Civic, Dorian Francis of Pembroke Pines, Florida, was the only occupant. He died at the scene. Roadway was closed for 4 hours for crash investigation. The driver of the semi was not injured. The George Washington Carver Lab demonstrates some nutty experiments using early 20th century technology. Demonstrators show how Carver used an often overlooked plant, the sweet potato, to change the way we think about agriculture. Now, Carver was a decorated academic with a master's and a bachelor's degree in agriculture from Iowa State University. The Art Forms Gallery in Pittsburgh hosted a stained glass workshop for beginners looking to try their hand at the art form. The workshop goes over how to score, break, gross, grind, copper foil, and solder stained glass. At the end of 5 weeks, participants will have their own glass panel to display at home. The 4-State Open Bowling Tournament kicked off its 62nd season at Holiday Lanes in Pittsburgh. Over 200 teams of 5 are competing for this year's top spot. The higher the team or individual bowler places, the more money they will be awarded at the end of the season. The tournament will run every weekend from now until May 7th, but will take a break for Easter. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
And a look at that forecast. Wind gusts 25, 35 miles an hour, increasing this afternoon. Clouds increasing, temperatures increasing though, highs in the mid to upper 50s. Winds and even the clouds let up a bit briefly this evening before they return overnight. We drop back down to a low of 40 degrees. We're watching shower chances, maybe a thunderstorm or two kicking off about 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. A little bit cooler, 54. And we're up to 72 Wednesday, 69 Thursday. Cold front with some showers and thunderstorms. That'll lead to some morning showers for us on Friday, 57. As we head into the weekend, take a look at that. We're staying in the 60s. More rain shower chances, and we'll have several of them. But despite the rain shower chances, look at those spring-like temperatures. And of course, today, the first day of spring, and it officially kicks off at 4:24 this evening. So it's going to be quite nice out there, albeit a bit breezy.
All right, well, coming up today at noon, we're making old-fashioned pierogies in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
And your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings. It's 20 years since the U.S. and its allies launched Operation Iraqi Freedom. Next on CBS Mornings, senior foreign correspondent Charlie Daggett returns to Baghdad, where he has been covering the conflict from the very beginning.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. And this morning, Joplin celebrates a milestone birthday this week. We've got Patrick Tuttle in studio to give us all the details on what you can expect from this week of celebration.
Plus, Pittsburgh Community Theater stops by to tell us about a play that goes wrong called The Play That Goes Wrong. But that's going to wrap it up for us for now. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
And we'll see you today at noon.